Hi, I'm Gary Eckenweiler, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself and then give you a faith story. I'm originally from Montana, but I've lived in Unalakleet for 25 years. I met my wife here, and I have a couple daughters, and both of them were very involved with Bible camp. And my youngest daughter is kind of continuing, trying to help others with their faith walk too, which I'm very proud of. I'm going to share a story, and it's kind of a interesting story because it's one of those stories that shows where prayer works. And it was a time in my life where I wasn't, sold on prayer. I prayed at that point in my life, but I had never had an experience where I seen prayer work. And I know prayer had probably been answered hundreds of times before then. It's just I might have shrugged them off as like coincidence, or just didn't even notice when they were being answered. I still do that, but not nearly as much. You kind of have to have a conscious effort to pray and then actually look for the answer and recognize it as God's work. But anyway, I'm going to tell you a story about when I was first dating my wife, and that would have been eons ago, maybe like 87 or 88, 89, anyway, long time ago. We were in Huntington Beach, California, a world away from here, and even a world away from Montana, where I grew up, and there was an ocean there, and I wasn't really familiar with the ocean. But I like to swim, so I thought I'd go swim in the surf. I was kind of surveying the situation, watching everybody out there and seeing what they were doing, and there's a whole group of people trying to body surf close to the beach, and then further out there's like these sailboarders and stuff kind of catching waves and stuff. Is real cool. So I was going to go out and do that. So my wife now, but my girlfriend then, she had no intention of going in the water, so I was kind of on my own. So I went out there and I was catching little waves. I don't know if you ever body surfed before, but you kind of like watch a wave come, and then right at the last second you kind of like jump into the wave and paddle on a little board, and you try to scoot to shore. I didn't even have the board. I was just trying to do it with my body, hence body surfing. And I was doing that. But the whole time I was doing that, I was having a hard time catching waves. And I'd look out, and off in the distance out there a little further, there's a lot bigger waves breaking. I thought, man, if I went out there by where those sailboarders are, that's the place where I could actually catch a wave. So I swam out there. I was a fairly strong swimmer, I thought I was. Got out there, and I'm like swimming around, treading water, looking in the distance, and I could see some waves coming. I'd see a wave, and I'd try to body surf, swim real quick, start down the wave, catch it for a little while. It was pretty cool. I did that two or three times. Then I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the next wave, and I'm treading water and I'm looking. I can see the surfboard guys, sailboarders out there shooting around. And I just kept looking out towards the ocean, waiting for that next wave. And there was no next wave. And I'm thinking to myself, now, where did these waves go? Was it just like the tide? There's waves for a while, or what happened to the waves? Then I kind of turned myself around as I was treading water and looked, and the shore was so far away. And all of a sudden, all those, sail surfers or whatever they're called, they were inside of me towards the beach. The beach was a long way off. I had actually got caught in a riptide. And apparently riptides sometimes go parallel to the beach. Sometimes they cut outwards or whatever they do. And I was obviously in a riptide that was cutting outwards. Because for a moment I could kind of see where my wife was sitting, and there's like a lifeguard stand fairly close. But I noticed I was like down the beach and way out. So I thought, well, no problem. I'm a strong swimmer. I'll just swim to shore. So I started doing the breaststroke. Got very tired doing that, because when I was doing that, I noticed I'm actually going further out than I am going in. The current was stronger than my swim. So I started doing the side stroke because I knew I could do the side stroke forever. So at that point I was thinking, well, you know what I really need to do is just stay alive out here. I'm obviously not going to get any closer to shore. Then I started getting a little bit nervous because there was nobody there. No lifeguards standing up waving their arms or anything like that. In fact, they were so far in I could barely see what they were doing anyway. So I resorted to prayer and I prayed to God for some help. You know, this is a no kidding thing. Okay, imagine me out in the ocean, middle of nowhere, little waves just kind of lapping around my face, breeze blowing. And when I prayed, it was like within seconds, less than a minute anyway, I was treading water, and all of a sudden, a swim fin came floating right in front of my face. Not even an arm's reach away. It was just right there, a blue swim fin. And I was like, what in the world? Like that. There was a swim fin. So I put it on, and I don't know if you ever use swim fins, but they help you tremendously. So I put that one swim fin on, and it was like, well, now I can swim pretty good, so I knew I wasn't going to drown or anything. And then a little bit later, Baywatch people or whatever, lifeguards came and rescued me and brought me to shore, and a little jet ski thing or whatever they had. So, but anyway, there you have it. So, I was thinking about that, and, there's just no way a swim fin would just be out in the middle of the ocean right where you need it, right at the exact moment you need it. So, very obviously it was answered prayer, and it kind of changed that moment. And after I really contemplated and thought about that moment, kind of changed the way I think about prayer, because it was just so blatantly there. Not only that, that swim fin too was like 3 sizes too small. And at that moment, it just fit like a glove. It just went right on. And I tried to put on since, and I still have the fin in the garage here. Probably never throw it away, and it don't fit, but it fit then. So there's my one story of like prayer that I can always go back to. And if I pray, sometimes I'll think, oh, well, I know prayer's answered. And still to this day, I think I'm like most people. I pray, and my prayers are answered. And a lot of times I don't notice or, think it's coincidence and stuff, but a lot less than before that moment. And I rely on prayer a lot more after that moment than I ever did before that moment. That's my story to share. Okay, I'll give you guys some advice. This is for younger people, not for older people, or it could be from older people. I'll tell you who I envy. I envy young people that are walking with God. Because when I was young, like high school age, I believed in God, but I hadn't really given my life to God. And I think I thought a lot like a lot of young people do. I'll do that later in life. Right now I'm going to do whatever I want. I can always, go to God when I'm ready. And it was a mistake, and it's something I look back at and I feel foolish about. And I wish I had just taken that faith step a lot younger. And so I envy people like these two interviewing me, and my daughter and other people that are young that have seen it a little sooner than I did. So there's my advice.